Within the living rhythm of creation moves the secret law of effortless success, guiding all things without strain or force. These sacred teachings reveal why success is never seized through effort, but received through harmony with a higher order. When striving dissolves into trust, life begins placing its gifts gently in your hands. The secret law of effortless success. Introduction. Within the living fabric of creation moves a silent intelligence, an unseen current that carries all things toward their destined form. Those who learn its rhythm do not struggle against life. They are carried by it. This wisdom, whispered through the ages by mystics and initiated minds, reveals a sacred truth. Success is not conquered, it is entered. There exists a hidden law, subtle yet exact, governing the movement of prosperity and fulfillment. It functions with flawless order, as precise as the stars in their courses. As water seeks its natural level, so consciousness attracts experiences that mirror its inner state. When you resist the flow through force or fear, you create friction that obstructs the very good meant to reach you. But when alignment replaces effort, life arranges itself with quiet brilliance. Observe how nature creates without strain. A flower does not labor to bloom. It does not question its worthiness of sunlight. It simply opens, responding to warmth, timing, and trust. In the same way, manifestation unfolds when you relax into resonance. You are not here to push reality into shape, but to become the state that allows it to emerge. At the heart of this law lies a sacred trinity: desire, belief, and surrender. Desire awakens the path. Belief clears the channel. Surrender invites the greater intelligence to move through you. When these three unite, creation becomes reciprocal. What you seek begins to seek you. This is not stillness born of waiting, but motion born of trust. It is the discipline of holding a vision without gripping its outcome. The universe possesses roots far more expansive than the mind can design. When you release the need to dictate the journey, you grant life permission to exceed your expectations. Those who awaken to this understanding discover a liberating truth. Effort was never the source of success. Alignment was. When your inner world resonates with what you desire, reality has no choice but to answer. Before we get into the book, comment "I am ready" to affirm your intention to the universe. Part 1. The Awakening of Effortless Intention. Chapter 1. The Quiet Command. In a sheltered corner of Willow Vale, Lily May tended her modest garden, her fingers trailing through the morning dew as she whispered her longings to the passing breeze. Day after day she spoke her dreams into the wind, yet harbored a secret doubt that muted their power. The flowers bloomed and withered according to their own rhythms, seemingly deaf to her pleas for abundance. The universe responds not to the volume of your requests, but to the resonance of your belief. This truth lay dormant in Lily May's garden until the morning she stopped begging the wind and began dancing with it instead. The shift was subtle, a quiet acceptance that replaced her desperate hoping. As her certainty grew, so did her flowers, reaching heights that astonished the neighboring gardens. Your thoughts shape the invisible architecture of possibility, but it is your feelings that breathe life into these structures. When you speak to the universe, it hears not your words, but the vibration of your conviction. The law of effortless success flows through this understanding. That manifestation occurs not through force, but through alignment. By the flowing waters of the same town lived Oliver Ray, who discovered this wisdom through his own journey. Each dawn found him seated by the riverbank, his heart full of gratitude for dreams not yet visible to the eye. The river taught him that rushing creates ripples, while stillness allows perfect reflection. As he learned to rest in unwavering faith, his desires began manifesting with an ease that seemed magical to others but natural to him. The water mirrored Oliver's tranquility long before it reflected his material success. This is the way of the universe. Inner harmony precedes outer manifestation. His story reveals that confidence need not shout. True power lies in the quiet, knowing that what you seek is already in motion. Ancient practice of calm certainty. As night falls, find a space of solitude. Let your eyes close gently and allow your breath to soften until it flows like a peaceful stream. Feel how expectation transforms into trust with each exhalation. In this sacred space, see your desire as already fulfilled, not as a future hope, but as a present reality. Notice how your body responds to this truth, relaxing into a state of peaceful acceptance. This tranquility is not passive waiting, but the highest form of spiritual magnetism. Rest in this knowing, for in such moments of calm certainty, the universe moves mountains without sound. Chapter 2. The Still Magnet. In the quiet depths of ancient wisdom lies a truth that many overlook in their haste to achieve. Force creates resistance, while alignment creates flow. You need only observe the natural world to witness this principle in action. The river does not strain against its banks. It follows the path of least resistance, yet carries enough power to shape mountains. Clara Jo embodied the struggle that keeps so many bound to effort. At her desk in the heart of the city, she crafted elaborate plans and detailed goals, each one more ambitious than the last. Her calendar burst with deadlines, her mind raced with strategies, and her heart pounded with the fear of falling behind. Yet despite her relentless drive, her dreams remained distant mirages, always shimmering on the horizon, but never within reach. The universe operates through resonance, not through force. When you push against life, life pushes back with equal intensity. This is not punishment. It is simply the law of energy responding to energy. Your striving creates the very resistance you fight against. Henry Dale discovered this truth through surrender. After years of charging headlong toward his goals, he learned the art of peaceful presence. Each morning, he would sit in his garden, allowing his breathing to sync with the natural rhythm of existence. Rather than grasping at outcomes, he cultivated a state of appreciative awareness. He stopped trying to force the future into being and instead opened himself to the possibilities already present in each moment. As Henry released his grip on specific outcomes, life began responding with unexpected grace. Opportunities appeared not through struggle, but through synchronicity. Business partnerships formed organically, resources arrived precisely when needed, and solutions emerged without strain. His calm certainty became a magnetic force, drawing to him exactly what he needed. This is the paradox of effortless success. The less you force, the more you attract. When you align with the natural flow of universal energy, you tap into a power far greater than personal will. Your role is not to make things happen, but to allow them to unfold through your aligned presence. Practice. As you prepare for sleep tonight, place your hand upon your heart. Feel its steady rhythm, a pulse that continues without your conscious effort. Allow your heart to become a gentle magnet, naturally drawing all good toward you. Release any sense of urgency or strain. Simply rest in the knowing that the universe's abundant flow moves through you with each breath. Let your entire being soften into this effortless attraction, for in this space of peaceful allowing, all possibilities awaken. Chapter 3. The Mirror of Desire. In the mountain village where sages once walked, a tale unfolds that reveals the hidden nature of desire. Nora Jean spent her days crafting beautiful garments, yet each time her heart whispered of greater possibilities, she silenced it with harsh judgment. "Who am I to want more?" she would ask, treating her deepest yearnings as unwelcome guests. Yet within this resistance lies a profound truth. Desire is not a flaw in your spiritual design, but the very language through which the infinite speaks to you. Each pure wanting that rises from your depths carries the signature of divine intention. When you judge your desires, you reject the universe's guidance system. Your desires are not random impulses, but precise frequencies broadcasting from the realm of infinite possibility. They appear in your consciousness because, at some level, they already exist. Just as a radio must tune to a station's frequency to receive its broadcast, you must align with the vibration of your desire to make it manifest. The universe knows no shortage, no limitation. It operates through unlimited expansion, expressing itself through the unique desires planted within each soul. Your role is not to question these sacred promptings, but to recognize them as divine messengers pointing toward your highest expression. Milton Lee embodied this wisdom. In his small studio overlooking the valley, he painted not for acclaim or profit, but because joy moved through his hands onto the canvas. Each evening, as the sun cast long shadows, he would lose himself in the pure pleasure of creation. He never questioned whether his art was good enough or if it would sell. He simply allowed his desire for expression to flow freely. As Milton aligned with his authentic creative impulse, something remarkable occurred. His paintings began finding their way to appreciative eyes. Collectors discovered his work, galleries opened their doors, and opportunities emerged without strain. He had tapped into the natural law of attraction by honoring his desire without resistance. This is the deeper teaching. When you fully embrace your desires without doubt or apology, you align with the very force that placed those desires within you. Your wanting is not separate from your having. It is the first manifestation of what seeks to emerge through you. Let go of the belief that your desires must be earned or justified. They are the soul's natural reaching toward greater expression. When you trust this reaching, when you allow yourself to feel the joy of your desire without resistance, you activate the law of effortless manifestation. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Bring to mind one cherished dream that lives in your heart. Rather than reaching for it with longing, welcome it as an already present reality. Feel the joy of its existence not as a future possibility, but as a current truth. Speak to it as you would a beloved friend sitting beside you. I bless your presence in my life. I celebrate our union. I rejoice in the perfection of our connection. Let your heart expand with gratitude for this desire, knowing it was divinely planted within you. Stay in this space of joyful acknowledgement for several minutes, allowing your entire being to resonate with the reality of your fulfilled desire. Chapter 4. The Ease of Allowing. In the quiet depths of morning, Hattie Pearl would rise before dawn, her mind already racing with tasks and obligations. She believed that prosperity could only be earned through ceaseless labor, viewing any moment of rest as a betrayal of her goals. Her calendar overflowed with commitments, each hour carefully allocated to productive pursuit. Yet, despite her relentless drive, abundance seemed to dance just beyond her grasp. The ancient wisdom speaks of a different way, one that honors the natural rhythm of creation. Just as water flows effortlessly downhill, manifestation moves through channels of least resistance. Your striving, though born of dedication, can become the very barrier that blocks your good from reaching you. Hattie's transformation began when exhaustion forced her to pause. In that unexpected stillness, she glimpsed a truth that would reshape her understanding. Ease is not the enemy of achievement, but its greatest ally. The universe operates through principles of natural flow, not forced effort. When you align with this flow, doors open without pushing, opportunities arise without strain. Ernest Clyde discovered this wisdom in his garden, where roses taught him the art of graceful receiving. Each morning, he observed how the flowers neither strained nor struggled to grow. They simply opened themselves to the nurturing rays of sunlight, allowing nature's intelligence to work through them. The roses bloomed not through effort, but through surrender to their inherent nature. As Ernest tended his garden, he began applying this principle to his own life. Rather than forcing outcomes, he learned to cultivate the conditions for growth and then step back and trust. His anxiety about the future melted into acceptance of the present moment. To his amazement, opportunities and resources began flowing into his life with the same natural ease as sunlight reaching his roses. This law reveals that effort and ease exist in perfect balance. Action flows from inspiration rather than obligation. When you release the belief that struggle is necessary, you allow the universe to work on your behalf. Your role is not to make things happen, but to align with the natural current of abundance that already flows. The practice of effortless receiving. Find a quiet place where you can breathe undisturbed. Allow your attention to rest gently on your breath. Notice how each inhalation arrives as a gift, requiring no effort on your part. With each incoming breath, imagine life bringing its blessings to you with the same natural ease. As you exhale, practice the art of gentle surrender, releasing all tension and resistance. Let each breath cycle become a reminder that receiving and letting go are natural states, requiring no strain or struggle. Continue this practice until you feel yourself merging with the rhythm of effortless being. Chapter 5. The Faith Frequency. In the gentle mists of morning, Daisy Lou would stand before her mirror, her reflection showing the weight of doubt in her eyes. Her dreams felt like distant stars, beautiful to behold, yet impossibly far from reach. Each time hope would rise, fear would rush in to dim its light. The law reveals a truth as old as time itself. Faith is not a blind leap into darkness, but the recognition of what already exists in the unseen realms. When you tune your awareness to the frequency of certainty, the universe has no choice but to reflect that certainty back to you. It is the law of corresponding vibration, as constant as gravity itself. Your emotions are the creative force that shapes reality. Words may direct intention, but feeling carries the power of manifestation. When you speak of what you desire while harboring doubt, you send mixed signals into the creative field. But when your emotional knowing aligns with your spoken word, you create with the power of universal law. This truth unveiled itself to Gordon Ray in the quiet hours of contemplation. Where once he questioned every positive possibility, he began to greet his future with the warmth of an old friend. Each morning, he would embrace the day as if his dreams had already manifested. "Thank you for this abundance," he would say, feeling the reality of it in his bones. "Thank you for this joy," he would whisper, allowing happiness to fill him completely. As Gordon shifted from doubting his destiny to celebrating it in advance, a remarkable transformation occurred. Opportunities began appearing as naturally as flowers turning toward the sun. His business flourished, relationships deepened, and life itself seemed to conspire in his favor. He had discovered that faith is not about convincing yourself of what isn't real. It's about aligning with what already exists in potential form. The universe responds not to what you wish for, but to what you vibrate. When your emotional frequency matches the reality you desire, creation itself moves to bridge the gap between the seen and unseen. Your faith becomes the bridge across which your dreams travel into physical form. Ancient practice. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Close your eyes and begin to whisper, "Thank you," for everything you wish to manifest, as if it has already arrived. Let each expression of gratitude build upon the last, allowing the feeling to grow naturally within your heart. Continue until the emotion of thankfulness becomes so real that you can feel it in every cell of your body. This is not pretense. It is the active alignment with what already exists in the infinite field of possibility. Chapter 6. The Gentle Decision. Long ago, in a village nestled among ancient hills, a young woman named Mabel Ann lived surrounded by endless possibilities. Each morning, she would write lists of dreams, her heart pulled in countless directions. Should she pursue the path of healing, follow her artistic calling, or dedicate herself to teaching wisdom? As the options multiplied, her energy scattered like leaves in an autumn wind, leaving her standing still while life flowed past. The universe speaks through precision. When your intention remains unfocused, the creative forces cannot align with clarity. Like a lens that must be adjusted to bring an image into focus, your desires must crystallize to manifest with power. The law of effortless success requires not the quantity of your dreams, but the quality of your certainty. In your moments of indecision, remember that choice itself carries creative force. Each definite decision sends ripples through the fabric of existence, commanding the universal forces to arrange themselves in support of your chosen path. The power lies not in having unlimited options, but in the courage to select one and infuse it with unwavering faith. This truth revealed itself through Celeste June, who lived in the same village as Mabel Ann. While others praised the virtue of keeping all doors open, Celeste June understood the magnetic power of decisive action. One morning, she rose with the sun and declared with quiet authority, "Life supports my every move." She chose her path with the certainty of a river finding its way to the sea. From that moment, the universe began its subtle dance of reorganization. Opportunities aligned themselves like stars forming a constellation. People who could assist her appeared at precisely the right moments. Even apparent obstacles transformed into stepping stones, each one perfectly placed to elevate her journey. The law shows us that when you declare your path with certainty, the entire universe conspires to support your chosen direction. Your environment becomes a mirror, reflecting back the clarity of your intention. This is not magic, but the natural response of life to focused energy. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space as the sun rises. Stand with your feet firmly planted on the ground, feeling the earth's support beneath you. Take 3 deep breaths to center yourself in this moment of power. Then, with clear voice and unwavering heart, speak aloud one definite choice that calls to your soul. Let your words carry the weight of certainty, as if your declaration has already shaped reality. Breathe deeply into this choice, feeling how the air itself seems to wrap around your words with support. Let confusion dissolve as clarity fills your being. The universe has heard your decision. Feel its immediate response in the steady beating of your heart. Chapter 7. The Golden Pause. In a world that rushes toward answers, you will discover that true power lies in the sacred pause. Let us explore this timeless truth through the story of Elsie May, who once believed that swift action marked the path to achievement. Each morning, Elsie May would spring from her bed, immediately crafting responses to life's questions before the sun had fully risen. Her hastily made choices, though abundant, lacked the resonance of aligned wisdom. Yet the universe held a lesson waiting to unfold within her journey. Through a chance encounter with an aged gardener who spoke little but achieved much, Elsie May witnessed the art of purposeful pause. She observed how he would stand quietly before each plant, allowing its nature to speak before lifting his shears. His garden flourished not through constant activity, but through the wisdom of weighted action. The law of effortless success reveals that every choice carries a natural timing, a perfect moment of ripeness that emerges from stillness. When you rush past these moments, you miss the subtle orchestration of universal forces aligning in your favor. This truth found its perfect illustration in Freddie Cole, a merchant whose business decisions once scattered like leaves in a storm. His transformation began when he learned to pause for 5 complete breaths before each choice. In that space between thought and action, he discovered an inner compass that had always been present, but never heard above the noise of hurry. Within weeks, his once chaotic ventures began flowing with surprising ease. Opportunities arrived not through forceful pursuit, but through aligned timing. His 5-breath practice created windows through which universal intelligence could whisper its guidance. The power of pause is not in the length of time, but in the quality of presence it creates. Each moment of stillness opens a doorway through which wisdom can enter. Your decisions need not spring from struggle, but can arise from a place of deep knowing. Ancient practice of aligned choice. As the sun traces its path today, observe the natural moments of stillness that appear in your life. When they arise, resist the urge to rush through them. Instead, allow each pause to extend just 1 breath longer than feels comfortable. Feel how the universe uses these expanded moments to align circumstances in your favor. Watch as your choices begin flowing not from urgency but from inner certainty, each decision carrying the weight of universal timing. Chapter 8. The field responds. In the hidden scrolls of timeless wisdom lies a truth so simple, yet so transformative. The power of consistent focus shapes reality itself. Let us begin with the tale of Marvin J., a merchant who believed his fortunes rose and fell at random. Day after day, Marvin opened his small shop, attributing each success to chance and each setback to misfortune. "Some are blessed with luck," he would say, watching others prosper while his own dreams remained distant shores. Yet, unknown to him, a profound principle was about to reveal itself. The universe responds not to sporadic wishes, but to the steady pulse of focused consciousness. Just as a lighthouse must maintain its beam to guide ships safely to shore, your mind must hold steady its vision to manifest desired outcomes. Every thought you maintain becomes a signal to the field of infinite possibility. Consider how water, when still, reflects the sky with perfect clarity. Similarly, your consistent mental state creates a clear reflection in the material world. This is not mere coincidence, but cosmic law, the law of resonant manifestation. Nettie Rose discovered this truth through her morning ritual. Each dawn, she would write in her gratitude journal, not as a mere exercise, but as a devoted practice of aligning her consciousness. She noted the small joys, the warmth of sunlight through her window, the aroma of fresh coffee, the sound of birds greeting the day. At first, it seemed nothing changed. But gradually, like a garden responding to daily care, her life began reflecting the appreciation she consistently cultivated. Opportunities appeared that matched her grateful vibration. People remarked on her good fortune, unaware that she had discovered the art of conscious resonance. The field of consciousness responds to what you consistently feed it. A scattered mind creates scattered results, while focused awareness draws forth corresponding experiences. This is not about forcing change through will, but about maintaining a steady signal that the universe naturally echoes. Your thoughts are not merely passive observers of reality. They are active creators. Each mental image you hold becomes a template that the universe seeks to fill, like water taking the shape of its container. The key lies not in the intensity of your desires, but in the consistency of your focus. Ancient practice. Select one simple joy, perhaps the feeling of peace or the warmth of appreciation. Let this become your companion throughout the day. As you wake, as you work, as you rest, return to this feeling again and again. Don't strain to maintain it. Simply let it surface naturally, like a favorite melody. Notice how life begins to orchestrate events that mirror this emotional tone. This is the art of conscious resonance, passed down through ages, now awakening in you. Chapter 9. The Science of Surrender. In the ancient hills where wisdom whispers through the wind, there lived a woman named Sadie Lou. From dawn until dusk, she gripped life with white knuckles, believing that control was the path to peace. Each moment became a battle, planning, strategizing, and attempting to orchestrate every detail of existence. Yet the more tightly she held on, the more life seemed to slip through her fingers like grains of sand. The universal law speaks of a different way, one that transcends the illusion of control. Just as water flows naturally around obstacles, never forcing its way through stone, true power lies in harmonious alignment rather than forceful direction. Your strength emerges not from commanding life, but from dancing with it. When you release your grip on outcomes, you tap into a wisdom far greater than individual will. This intelligence that turns seeds into flowers and stars into galaxies stands ready to guide your path, if only you would loosen your hold. The universe operates through perfect order, requiring not your exhausting management, but your trusting participation. Consider Leonard Dean, who once believed success demanded constant vigilance and control. His days were consumed with endless lists and rigid plans until exhaustion left him empty. Then one morning, watching leaves dance on the breeze, he realized a profound truth. Those leaves moved in perfect harmony without his intervention. This simple observation transformed his approach to life. Instead of forcing outcomes, Leonard began to cultivate joy in each moment. He discovered that when he released his iron grip on circumstances, life flowed more naturally. Opportunities appeared effortlessly, as if drawn by the magnetic pull of his newfound peace. His business flourished not through aggressive control, but through inspired action born of present-moment wisdom. This surrender you're learning about isn't passive resignation. It's active alignment with the infinite intelligence that orchestrates galaxies. It's the recognition that your highest good unfolds naturally when you step out of your own way. Your role is not to make life happen, but to allow it to unfold through you. The practice of sacred surrender. Find a quiet moment and settle into stillness. Visualize yourself standing beside a gently flowing river, the river of life itself. One by one, take each worry, each need to control, each burden you've been carrying, and place it into the water. Watch as each concern is carried downstream by the current. Feel the profound relief as you entrust these matters to the wisdom of the universe. Let your breath deepen as you recognize that the same intelligence that guides the stars guides your life. Rest in the knowing that all is well, all is unfolding perfectly, without your need to control every detail. Chapter 10. The Current of Joy. In a bustling marketplace where merchants traded gold and silver, Minnie Ray watched the exchange of wealth with a heavy heart. Though she worked diligently at her small flower stall, adorning it with the brightest blooms she could find, she believed true abundance required serious pursuit. Each morning, she would force a smile while arranging her flowers, convinced that such simple pleasures could never lead to the prosperity she sought. The universe speaks a different language of abundance, one where joy becomes the primary currency of creation. When your heart dances with delight, you activate the most potent creative force in existence. This truth remains hidden from those who believe success must wear a solemn face. Your natural state is joy. When you return to this truth, you align with the very frequency of abundance. The universe responds not to the size of your smile, but to its authenticity. Each moment of genuine pleasure sends ripples through the field of infinite possibility, attracting circumstances that match your vibration. Peter Clyde discovered this wisdom while tending his small bookshop. For years he approached his business with stern determination, measuring success solely by numbers. Then one day, he began reading stories to neighborhood children simply because their laughter brightened his afternoons. He started hosting poetry readings because verses brought him joy. He created cozy reading nooks because they delighted his soul. To his amazement, his shop transformed. Customers lingered longer, bought more books, and spread word of the magical atmosphere he had created. His revenue doubled, then tripled, not because he chased success, but because he chose joy. The universe simply matched and multiplied his vibration of delight. This law operates with mathematical precision. Joy multiplied returns as abundance. Your task is not to dismiss small pleasures as insignificant, but to recognize them as powerful points of attraction. When you prioritize what brings you genuine delight, you activate a magnetic force that draws more reasons for joy into your experience. The ancient practice of joy. Magnification. Take a moment now to recall one simple pleasure. Perhaps the warmth of sunlight on your face, the aroma of fresh coffee, or the sound of rain on a roof. Let this memory fill your entire being. Feel how your body naturally responds to this recollection. Now, allow genuine laughter to bubble up from deep within, not forced, but flowing naturally from your connection to this joyful moment. Let this laughter seal your vibration in pure delight. The universe cannot help but respond to this authentic frequency of joy. Part 2. The Deepening of Resonant Power. Chapter 11. The Paradox of Letting Go. In the quiet hills beyond the city lived Ruth Ellen, whose hands were always clenched around her purse, her dreams, her tomorrow. Each morning she would write her manifestation list with such force that the pen nearly tore through the paper. Her intensity stemmed from a deep well of worry that if she didn't hold on tight enough, everything would slip away. The universe speaks in paradox, and through Ruth Ellen's journey, a vital truth emerges. That which you clutch too tightly cannot multiply. Like water, abundance seeks the path of least resistance, flowing naturally toward those spaces that welcome its presence without demanding its arrival. When you grasp at manifestation from a place of fear, you create resistance in the very field meant to support you. Your tension becomes a barrier, your anxiety a wall between you and your desires. The law of effortless success teaches that manifestation flows not through force, but through allowance. Consider the wisdom hidden in Walter Glenn's transformation. For years, he carried the weight of past disappointments like heavy stones in his pockets. Each new opportunity was met with the shadow of previous setbacks, until he learned the art of blessed completion. Walter discovered that by honoring what had been, truly blessing each experience as perfect in its time, he created space for what was yet to come. He stopped trying to override his past or force his future. Instead, he simply acknowledged each chapter of his life as complete, perfect in its own way. As Walter released his grip on old stories, something remarkable occurred. New possibilities began appearing in his life with natural ease. Business opportunities, relationships, and creative inspirations arrived not through struggle but through the space he had created by letting go. This principle operates with mathematical precision. Your ability to receive is directly proportional to your willingness to release. When you bless what has been and open your hands to what will be, you align with the natural flow of universal abundance. The practice of release is not about abandoning your desires. It is about trusting them enough to let them breathe. When you release the desperate need for control, you activate a profound law of creation. What is truly yours cannot be lost, and what awaits you cannot be delayed when you stand in the energy of allowing. Ancient practice of release. Find a quiet moment and settle into a comfortable position. Extend your hands before you, palms facing upward. Notice any tension you may be holding in your fingers, your palms, your wrists. Gradually allow your hands to soften and relax, as if invisible ropes you've been gripping are gently dissolving. As your hands release, whisper to yourself, "What is mine cannot escape me. I trust in perfect timing and divine order." Let this feeling of release spread through your entire being, knowing that in this surrender, you become most powerful. Chapter 12. The Whisper of Guidance. A heart that grasps too tightly cannot receive. This ancient wisdom echoes through time, yet its truth remains eternally fresh for those ready to embrace it. The path of effortless success reveals itself most clearly when we loosen our grip on how things should be. In a bustling marketplace, June rushed from stall to stall, her mind racing with endless calculations and plans. Each decision became a battle between her racing thoughts and the quiet whisper of her inner knowing. Day after day, she ignored these gentle nudges, convincing herself that logic alone would lead to success. Yet the more she pushed against her intuition, the more her carefully laid plans unraveled. It wasn't until life brought her to a complete standstill, through an unexpected illness that confined her to bed, that June finally heard what her soul had long been trying to tell her. In the forced stillness, the whispers became clear. Her path had never required such strenuous effort. It only required her attention to the subtle guidance that had always been present. When you silence the mind's constant chatter, you begin to perceive the delicate thread of wisdom that weaves through every moment. This is not mere coincidence or fancy. It is the voice of universal intelligence speaking directly to your heart. Consider Frank Levi, who worked as a merchant in the spice trade. While others relied on complex market analyses, Frank learned to trust the quiet promptings that would arise in his meditation. When an inner nudge suggested he stock up on cinnamon despite low market predictions, his rational mind protested. Yet he followed this guidance, and weeks later, an unexpected shortage made his supply invaluable. The universe operates through you, not despite you. Your intuition is not separate from the greater intelligence that orchestrates the dance of planets and the blooming of flowers. It is your direct line to this wisdom, always available, always guiding. What appears as chaos to the thinking mind often reveals itself as perfect order when viewed through the lens of intuitive wisdom. Each moment carries a message. Each setback holds a secret direction, if only you will listen. The law of effortless success teaches that force creates resistance, while alignment creates flow. Your inner knowing is the compass that points toward this alignment. The softest whisper often carries the most powerful truth. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Close your eyes and allow your breath to find its natural rhythm. Let your attention sink beneath the surface of thought, like a stone dropping into still water. Notice the subtle impressions that arise, a gentle pull toward or away from something, a feeling of expansion or contraction, a quiet knowing that transcends logic. These are your sacred messages. Hold them with reverence, for they are the universe speaking directly to your heart. Practice this listening daily, and watch as your path becomes increasingly clear, guided by the wisdom that has always been within you. Chapter 13. The Alchemy of Emotion. In the heart of an ancient mountain village, a woman named Bonnie Kay owned a small trading post. Each morning she would meticulously arrange her wares, attempting to orchestrate the perfect conditions for success. She tracked every detail: the weather, market trends, customer patterns, believing that if she could just control all the variables, prosperity would follow. Yet, despite her thorough planning, abundance remained elusive. The more she tried to manipulate circumstances, the more they seemed to slip through her fingers like water. The universal law whispered its wisdom, but she could not hear it through the noise of her striving. The truth that governs all manifestation is elegantly simple. Your emotional frequency is the architect of your reality. Before any circumstance materializes in the physical world, it must first exist as a vibrational pattern shaped by feeling. The universe responds not to your actions, but to the energy signature of your emotional state. This principle found perfect expression through Otis Lee, a musician who lost his beloved instrument in a fire. Instead of dwelling in loss, he chose to transform his pain into gratitude for the music that had filled his life. Each morning, he would sit in silence, feeling appreciation for every note he had ever played. Within weeks, a mysterious patron gifted him an instrument far superior to the one he had lost. His story teaches that circumstances bow to emotional mastery. When you shift your inner state, outer reality must realign to match it. This is not magical thinking, but the operation of universal law. Everything in existence is energy in motion, and emotion is energy in motion through your being. Ancient practice of emotional alchemy. Find a quiet space where you can be undisturbed. Bring to mind one challenging feeling that weighs upon your heart. Rather than resisting this emotion, welcome it as a messenger. Breathe deeply and ask, "What wisdom do you carry for me?" Let the feeling speak through sensation rather than thought. As its message becomes clear, gradually allow gratitude to rise for this teaching. Feel appreciation replacing heaviness, knowing that this transformation ripples out into the fabric of your reality. The universe cannot help but respond to your new vibration. Your emotions are the brush with which you paint reality. Choose your colors wisely, for what you feel becomes what you live. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14. The Art of Receiving. In the heart of an ancient market square, Frances May spent her days serving others, finding joy in giving but tensing whenever gifts flowed her way. Each morning, she baked extra loaves to share with travelers, yet when someone offered to pay more than her asking price, she would lower her eyes and decline. Her spirit knew abundance, but her hands remained tightly closed to receiving it. This resistance to receiving unveils a crucial secret of the universal flow, that life maintains perfect balance between giving and receiving. Just as the ocean cannot only wave outward, your energy cannot solely flow in one direction. The law of effortless success teaches that receptivity holds equal spiritual power to generosity. Consider how a flower both gives its beauty and receives the sun's light. It does not apologize for drinking in the rain or drawing nutrients from the soil. In its perfect acceptance, it fulfills its nature and brings joy to all who pass by. This is the model of divine exchange that governs all of creation. Emmett Roy discovered this truth while tending his small shop at the edge of town. For years, he undercharged for his craftsmanship, deflected praise, and refused help, until the day an old sage stopped to admire his work. Your resistance to receiving the sage observed, dims the light you wish to share. These words sparked a transformation in Emmett. He began accepting compliments with a simple, "Thank you." He allowed customers to pay full value for his work. When neighbors offered assistance, he welcomed their support with grace. As Emmett opened himself to receive, an extraordinary shift occurred. His business flourished effortlessly. Opportunities appeared as naturally as sunrise. By allowing himself to receive, he discovered a deeper capacity to give. His shop became a beacon of abundance, touching more lives than ever before. The universe responds not to what you do, but to your willingness to be in harmony with its flow. When you resist receiving, you create resistance in all directions. Yet when you open yourself to life's gifts, whether they come as compliments, opportunities, or material abundance, you align with the natural law of circulation. Your resistance to receiving is not humility. It is a disruption of universal balance. True grace lies in allowing good to flow both ways, knowing you are worthy of life's gifts. Ancient practice. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Close your eyes and place your hands on your lap, palms facing upward in a gesture of receptivity. Breathe deeply, and with each breath, silently repeat the words, "I allow good to find me." Continue until you feel warmth spreading through your body. This is the sensation of opening to receive. Let this feeling remind you that receiving is as sacred as giving. Chapter 15. The Harmony of Action. In a quiet valley nestled between ancient mountains, Lucy Pearl filled her days with ceaseless motion. From dawn until dusk, she darted between tasks like a hummingbird, believing that constant activity would bring her closer to her dreams. Yet despite her perpetual movement, her desires remained distant mirages on the horizon. The universal law whispers a deeper truth. Inspired action flows from stillness, not from restless doing. When you align with the natural rhythm of creation, movement becomes an expression of inner guidance rather than a reaction to outer pressure. Like a river that knows precisely when to flow and when to pool, your actions gain power when they arise from centered awareness. Billy Sam discovered this truth while tending his grandfather's orchard. Where once he had rushed to harvest every fruit the moment it showed color, he learned to wait for the subtle signals, the perfect wait, the gentle give, the sweet fragrance that announced ripeness. His patience was rewarded with the finest harvest the valley had known. The law of effortless success teaches that true power lies not in the quantity of your actions, but in their alignment with universal timing. Each genuine impulse carries within it the seed of fulfillment. When you move from this space of inner knowing, the universe conspires to support your every step. Picture a master musician who knows the power of both notes and rests. The beauty of the melody emerges not from playing every note possible, but from allowing each note its perfect moment. Your life holds this same potential for harmony when you learn to trust the rhythm of inspired action. The question is not, "What should I do?" but rather, "What is life calling forth through me in this moment?" When your actions spring from this deep listening, they carry an effortless grace that accomplishes more than forced effort ever could. Ancient practice. Before each action today, pause and feel for the quiet excitement that signals alignment. Let your body become still until you sense that gentle hum of rightness within. Move only when that inner yes becomes clear and unmistakable. Notice how actions flowing from this space feel supported by an invisible grace, as if the universe itself moves with you. This is the dance of effortless success, not pushing against life, but moving in harmony with its natural rhythm. Chapter 16. The Mirror Called Others. In the heart of a bustling marketplace, Annie Flo stood amid the chaos, her frustration rising like steam from the cobblestones. Each interaction seemed to push against her desires: the merchant who shortchanged her, the stranger who bumped without apology, the friend who failed to return her kindness. In her eyes, the world had conspired to place obstacles in her path. Yet the ancient wisdom reveals that your outer world mirrors your inner state with perfect precision. Each person you encounter serves as a living reflection of your own vibration, your beliefs, and your expectations. When you point a finger outward, 3 more point back at you, not as punishment, but as gentle guidance toward self-awareness. Calvin Ray discovered this truth during his darkest hour. His business partnerships had crumbled, his friendships had grown distant, and his family relationships had become strained. In his solitude, he began to notice how his judgments of others echoed his own inner critic. Each complaint he harbored about others' behavior matched a wound he carried within. One morning, as golden light filtered through his window, Calvin Ray chose differently. Instead of rehearsing grievances, he began each day by blessing those who challenged him most. With each person who tested his patience, he paused to ask, "What part of myself am I seeing?" When someone displayed anger, he examined his own unacknowledged fury. When another showed greed, he looked at his own fears of scarcity. Gradually, remarkably, his relationships began to transform. The hostile neighbor became cordial, the difficult client grew appreciative, and the distant family member reached out with warmth. Nothing had changed except his own heart's resonance. This law operates with mathematical precision. Your relationship with others reflects your relationship with yourself. When you shift your inner frequency from judgment to compassion, the entire field of your experiences must realign to match this new vibration. It is not magic, but the natural outcome of energetic coherence. The practice. Find a quiet space where you can be undisturbed. Bring to mind someone who challenges you, someone whose actions or words have caused you pain. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. With each breath, send them silent blessings of peace, love, and understanding. Continue until you feel the hardness in your heart begin to soften. Notice how your own tension eases as you extend compassion. This practice, performed consistently, will transform your relationships by first transforming you. Chapter 17. The Timing of Trust. Along a winding path through ancient hills, Edna May paced beneath storm-laden skies. Day after day she gazed at the horizon, willing her dreams to materialize. Her heart ached with wanting, her mind churned with questions of when. The waiting felt like an endless void, each passing moment a test of her resolve. The universe speaks through the language of divine timing. What appears as delay is often the precise orchestration of countless unseen forces aligning for your highest good. When you resist this sacred timing, you create friction in the very fabric of manifestation. Your role is not to force the seasons to change, but to align your inner climate with the natural rhythm of creation. Just as a flower cannot be commanded to bloom before its time, your desires unfold according to a wisdom far greater than the limited perspective of human scheduling. Gerald Tom understood this truth only after years of fighting against time itself. In his garden, he had planted seeds with demanding expectations, checking hourly for signs of growth. His impatience created tension in the soil of possibility, until one day, exhausted from his own resistance, he surrendered to nature's timing. In that surrender, he discovered that preparation happens in the unseen realms first. While the seed appears dormant beneath the earth, miraculous transformations occur in perfect sequence. His garden flourished, not when he demanded, but when he learned to trust the invisible process of becoming. The law of effortless success teaches that timing is not your enemy, but your ally. Each moment of waiting carries its own gift, the refinement of your vibration, the clarification of your desire, the strengthening of your trust. What seems like delay is often divine protection, ensuring all elements are in perfect position for your highest good. Your impatience is simply misaligned energy, believing that now is better than divine timing. Yet the universe operates through eternal wisdom, not human calendars. When you resist this truth, you create resistance in the very stream of manifestation you wish to enter. Ancient practice. Sit in stillness and place your hands over your heart. As impatience rises, breathe deeply and whisper these words with genuine feeling. I am grateful for perfect timing. I am ready when life is ready. Let each breath dissolve the urgency until you feel peace replace resistance. Trust that your desire's arrival is already in motion, unfolding in divine sequence. Repeat this practice whenever you feel time moving too slowly, until patience becomes your natural state. Chapter 18. The Flow of Forgiveness. In a small mountain village, Lois Ann tended her garden each morning, the same way she tended her grudges, meticulously and with great care. Her hands worked the soil while her mind replayed old wounds, watering them with attention until they grew thick as weeds. Though abundance surrounded her, it seemed to stop at the fence line of her property, as if sensing an invisible barrier. The ancient wisdom whispers that forgiveness is not weakness, but the highest form of spiritual alchemy. Your energy field cannot attract new blessings while it clutches old hurts. Every grievance you harbor becomes a wall between you and the universe's natural flow of good. When you hold on to past injuries, you create resistance to present possibilities. The law of attraction responds not to your words or wishes, but to the vibrational signature you emit. Resentment vibrates at a frequency that repels the very things you seek to attract. In the neighboring valley lived Clarence Joe, who once carried the weight of self-judgment like heavy stones in his pockets. Each morning, he would sit by the stream and release one memory of self-criticism into the flowing water. As his heart lightened, his circumstances began to shift. Opportunities appeared as naturally as dawn. His crops yielded double, his relationships deepened, and prosperity flowed as freely as the stream where he practiced his daily ritual of release. The quickening law reveals that forgiveness creates space for grace. It is not about condoning actions or forgetting wisdom gained, but about freeing yourself from the energetic chains of the past. When you forgive, you do not change history. You change its power over your present vibration. Your task is not to justify old wounds, but to release their hold on your creative force. Each act of forgiveness opens another channel through which abundance can flow. The universe responds not to your history, but to your current vibration. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space and close your eyes. Imagine standing in a column of pure golden light. Bring to mind any person, situation, or aspect of yourself that carries the weight of unforgiveness. See this energy as dark clouds around you. As you breathe deeply, watch the golden light transform these clouds into pure energy. With each exhale, feel the lightness that comes with release. Let the warmth of forgiveness fill the spaces where resentment once lived. Feel your magnetic field expanding, clear and bright, ready to attract new blessings. Chapter 19. The Song of Appreciation. In a sunlit valley, Carrie Lou walked each morning at dawn, her voice lifting in song to greet the new day. While others rushed through their mornings with demands and worries, she chose to begin with appreciation. Her neighbors thought her strange at first, but soon they noticed how fortune seemed to follow in her footsteps, as naturally as dew forms on morning grass. The law of effortless success teaches that appreciation is the highest vibration you can offer the universe. When you approach life with genuine gratitude, you signal to the creative force that you recognize its gifts. This recognition multiplies, for what you appreciate appreciates. Many seek to manifest through force of will, through constant asking and demanding. Yet the universe responds more readily to thankfulness than to wanting. Your appreciation creates an energetic signature that attracts more experiences worthy of gratitude. In the same valley lived Victor J., a merchant who had always believed success required aggressive pursuit. His days were filled with striving, until he witnessed how Carrie Lou's grateful heart seemed to effortlessly attract abundance. Intrigued, he began acknowledging every small blessing that crossed his path: the warmth of sunlight on his face, the smile of a stranger, the perfect timing of a chance meeting. To his amazement, his business began to flourish without strain. Customers appeared precisely when needed, opportunities arose spontaneously, and solutions presented themselves before problems fully formed. He discovered that gratitude creates an invisible bridge between desire and fulfillment. The law reveals that appreciation is not merely a response to good fortune. It is the very frequency that draws good fortune near. When you train your awareness to recognize and celebrate what already exists, you tune your entire being to the frequency of receiving. Sacred practice. Find a quiet moment and settle into stillness. Begin with the breath that sustains you, offering thanks for its constant gift. Next, acknowledge the ground beneath you, supporting your journey. Finally, appreciate the awareness within you that can choose joy. Let each recognition linger until you feel your heart begin to hum with genuine contentment. Notice how this vibration of gratitude naturally attracts more reasons to be grateful. Chapter 20. The Silence Beyond Thought. A merchant once traveled to a distant city in search of precious gems. In his haste to find the rarest stones, he rushed through the marketplace, missing the very treasures displayed before him. Only when he sat exhausted at day's end did he notice an old woman selling the finest jewels he had ever seen, right at the entrance where he had begun. The universe operates through appreciation, not acquisition. This truth lies at the heart of effortless creation. When you pause to value what exists in your present moment, you activate a magnetic force that draws more to appreciate. Your gratitude becomes a song that the universe cannot help but dance to. Eleanor Fay discovered this principle while tending to her small bookshop. Each morning, rather than lamenting the quiet hours, she began expressing thanks for the subtle gifts around her, the morning light streaming through windows, the scent of old books, the peaceful moments between customers. As her appreciation deepened, so did her peace. Soon, she noticed more customers drawn to the shop's tranquil atmosphere, each bringing exactly what she needed, whether wisdom, friendship, or prosperity. The true power of appreciation lies not in its expression alone, but in the stillness it creates within. When mental noise subsides, infinite intelligence speaks. Herbert Lee embodied this understanding by dedicating his mornings to mindful silence. In this quiet space, he found that decisions made themselves, opportunities appeared naturally, and life flowed with remarkable ease. His practice was simple: to sit in grateful silence until his mind settled like still water, reflecting truth rather than creating ripples of worry. This ancient wisdom reveals that appreciation is not merely an attitude, but a frequency that aligns you with universal abundance. When you truly value what is, you open yourself to receive what can be. Practice for deepening. Find a comfortable space where you won't be disturbed. Let your breath settle naturally. Begin by appreciating the simple act of being alive. Allow stillness to envelop you for 1 minute longer than feels comfortable. Notice how wisdom naturally emerges from this calm. In this space of quiet gratitude, feel intelligence blooming like a flower opening to the sun. This is the song of appreciation, a melody that requires no effort, only awareness. Part 3. The Embodiment of Effortless Mastery. Chapter 21. The Presence of Power. In an ancient valley there lived a potter who spent decades searching for the perfect clay. He traveled far and wide, testing soils from distant lands, certain that masterful creations required rare materials. One day, exhausted from his quest, he picked up a handful of earth from his own garden. As he worked it between his fingers, he discovered it held all the qualities he had sought elsewhere. His greatest works emerged from the ground beneath his feet. Truth exists not in the extraordinary, but in the recognition of what already dwells within. The deepest wisdom teaches that you need not acquire power. You need only remember it. Like a bird that already knows how to fly, your soul carries the blueprint of mastery. The challenge lies not in gaining something new, but in awakening to what has always been present. Ivy Lou discovered this principle while organizing her modest shop. For years, she had viewed her daily tasks as obstacles to success, believing real achievement lay somewhere beyond her current circumstances. Yet one morning, as sunlight filtered through dusty windows, she felt an unmistakable presence in the simple act of arranging her wares. In that moment, she realized the sacred didn't exist separate from the ordinary. It moved through every gesture, every breath. This same understanding transformed Norman Kay's life. As a gardener, he had initially seen his work as merely tending plants. But when he began to feel divine presence flowing through each motion, the way he turned the soil, pruned the branches, watered the seedlings, his entire experience shifted. His garden became known throughout the region not just for its beauty, but for the peace it emanated. People would visit simply to sit among the flowers, sensing the sacred attention with which each plant had been tended. The law of effortless success reveals that mastery flows naturally when you recognize the divine in each moment. Every action, no matter how small, carries the potential for perfect expression. When you align with this truth, ordinary tasks become channels for extraordinary power. Ancient practice. Take 3 conscious breaths. As you move through your day, pause occasionally to feel the universe flowing through your simplest actions. Whether washing dishes, writing letters, or walking down a street, remind yourself, the universe moves through me gently and completely. Let each movement become a dance with infinite intelligence. Notice how grace naturally arises when you recognize the sacred within the ordinary. Chapter 22. The Living Vision. In a village nestled between ancient hills lived Marjorie Fay, who understood that dreams need not remain distant stars. Each morning she would sit in her garden and allow her deepest aspirations to breathe beside her like cherished friends. Her practice reveals a fundamental truth of effortless success. Vision carried within transforms the world without. The universe responds not to what you demand, but to what you embody. When Marjorie treated her unmanifested dreams as present companions, sharing her meals with them, walking with them through her garden, speaking to them as if they already existed, a remarkable shift occurred. The boundary between imagination and reality began to dissolve. This dissolution reveals the deeper teaching. What you hold as real in consciousness must eventually express in form. The creative force knows no difference between what you vividly imagine and what you experience. It responds purely to the quality of your knowing. Taylor Joe discovered this truth while tending his modest bookshop. Instead of yearning for success, he began living within its atmosphere. He would touch each book with the reverence of one who knew abundance was already present. He spoke to customers as though prosperity flowed through every transaction. He moved through his days wrapped in the certainty that everything he desired already existed in complete form. Within months, his small shop transformed into a gathering place of minds and hearts. Success found him because he had already become its dwelling place. His story illuminates that manifestation follows embodiment, never the reverse. The law teaches that imagination, properly employed, is not mere fantasy, but the blueprint of reality awaiting expression. When you allow your desired life to become your constant companion, you initiate an alchemical process. The density of current circumstances begins to yield to the light of what you hold as true within. This is not wishful thinking, but the precise application of universal law. Just as a seed contains the full pattern of the flower, your consciousness contains the complete pattern of your destiny. Your task is not to force it into being, but to nurture its natural unfoldment through unwavering recognition. Practice. Envision your fulfilled life as light surrounding you, breathing with you now. Chapter 23. The Infinite Response. In a seaside village, Cora Bell watched the tides with puzzlement. Each day she cast wishes like stones into the water, wondering why some sank while others seemed to dance across the surface. Her confusion unveiled a vital truth about the mechanics of manifestation. What appears as chance follows the precise law of resonance. The ocean of universal intelligence responds not to sporadic ripples, but to sustained waves of feeling. Just as the moon's constant pull shapes the tides, Your emotional consistency shapes the flow of experience. This is not theory, but the fundamental physics of consciousness. Leonard Claude understood this principle while tending to his small bakery. Instead of random acts of kindness, he cultivated an unwavering field of goodwill. Each loaf of bread he baked carried the vibration of care. Every customer interaction held the same warm attention, regardless of circumstance. He did not reserve his kindness for special occasions or worthy recipients. He simply became kindness itself. At first, nothing seemed to change, but like water slowly warming, the atmosphere around him began to shift. Customers lingered longer, sharing stories and smiles. Neighbors started leaving small gifts at his door. Business opportunities appeared without effort. Most remarkably, when difficulty arose, help arrived before he could ask. The law reveals that what you consistently radiate must return amplified. The universe mirrors not your occasional moods, but your sustained emotional signature. This is why fleeting wishes often fade while deeply held feelings manifest with startling precision. Leonard's experience teaches that generosity of spirit, when maintained without interruption, creates a magnetic field that draws similar experiences. He did not need to orchestrate outcomes or manipulate circumstances. His only work was maintaining the purity of his emotional broadcast. This understanding liberates you from the burden of trying to control external events. Your task is simply to hold steady the feeling you wish to experience. The law of reciprocal resonance ensures that what you emanate must return, multiplied by the vast field of consciousness through which it travels. Practice. Send one wave of love outward intentionally and feel it circle back. Chapter 24. The Attitude of Abundance. In a small village along the coast, Mildred Sue woke each morning counting her worries like shells on the shore. She believed that anxiety fueled achievement, that fear of lack would drive her toward wealth. Each coin she earned was quickly hidden away, each opportunity measured against potential loss. Her gardens withered from too little water, for she feared the well might run dry. Her pantry held just enough, never more, for she worried abundance might breed waste. Yet the law knows that scarcity thoughts can only birth scarcity experiences, like calls to like across the infinite field of possibility. Each fearful thought sends ripples of constraint into the universe, which then mirrors back that very limitation. This is not punishment, but perfect reflection. In the same village lived Raymond Earl, a baker who gave away his first loaf each morning to whoever passed his door. His shelves overflowed with golden crusts and sweet aromas, not because he calculated profit, but because he assumed abundance as natural as sunrise. When flour prices rose, he raised his giving rather than his prices. When others hoarded during drought, he shared his water with wilting gardens. The universe responded to his generous spirit with ever-expanding supply. Customers multiplied, not through marketing but through the magnetic force of his joyful assumption. His prosperity grew not from careful counting, but from careful kindness. While others saw business as a battlefield, Raymond Earl treated it as a garden where abundance naturally blooms when tended with love. Through Raymond's example, Mildred Sue began to understand. She noticed how tension constricted not just her shoulders, but her very life force. Gradually, she loosened her grip on scarcity thoughts. She began leaving coins in unexpected places for others to find. She planted extra rows in her garden, knowing nature's tendency toward abundance. As her assumption of plenty grew stronger, life responded in kind. Her garden flourished beyond need, allowing her to share freely. Opportunities arrived with ease, each one building upon the last. She discovered that prosperity flows not from desperate grasping, but from peaceful knowing. Sacred practice. Settle into a comfortable position and bring to mind 3 expressions of abundance already present in your life. Feel genuine gratitude for each one, letting appreciation fill your being until it transforms into serene expectancy. This calm certainty becomes your natural state, attracting greater abundance through your aligned vibration. Chapter 25. The Radiance Within. In the shadows of an ancient temple, Hazel Jean placed offering after offering at the feet of stone idols, seeking signs of divine favor. Each day she returned, her arms laden with fresh flowers and precious gifts, yet her heart remained heavy with doubt. She believed that if she could only give enough, prove enough, demonstrate enough worth, then surely abundance would flow into her life. But the more she strived to show her value, the more it seemed to slip away like water through cupped hands. The universal law whispers a deeper truth. Abundance flows not from external validation, but from inner radiance. Your worth cannot be earned because it already exists as your natural state. Just as the sun needs no permission to shine, your inherent value requires no proof or demonstration. Samuel Dean discovered this truth while tending his small garden. Each morning he would sit quietly among his flowers, not to nurture them, but to appreciate their natural beauty. He noticed how the roses bloomed without striving, how the morning glories opened to the dawn without questioning their right to exist. Gradually, he began treating himself with the same gentle acceptance. Instead of seeking approval from others, he learned to rest in self-appreciation. He stopped trying to prove his worth through endless achievement, and began to recognize the light that had always lived within him. As his inner radiance grew stronger, life began reflecting this truth back to him in countless ways. Opportunities appeared effortlessly, relationships deepened naturally, and abundance flowed like a river finding its course to the sea. This principle reveals that outer abundance mirrors inner abundance. When you cease the endless quest for external validation and instead nurture your inner light, the universe responds in kind. Your energy becomes magnetic, not through effort, but through alignment with your inherent worth. Appreciation of self opens the gateway to universal abundance, not the shallow self-admiration that seeks attention, but the deep recognition of your divine nature. This is the foundation upon which all lasting abundance builds itself. Ancient practice of inner light. Find a quiet moment and place your hand upon your chest. Close your eyes and become aware of the warmth beneath your palm. Imagine a soft golden light glowing in your heart center. Allow this light to expand naturally without forcing or directing it. Let it grow brighter simply because that is its nature. Feel this radiance filling your entire being, acknowledging that this light is your true essence. Rest in this awareness, knowing that your worth is as natural as sunlight, as inherent as the stars glow. You need not earn it, prove it, or demonstrate it. Simply allow it to shine. Chapter 26. The Unity Field. In the depths of a moonlit valley, Winnie Kay worked tirelessly in her garden, always feeling as if nature stood apart from her touch. Each plant seemed to resist her efforts, withering despite her determined care. Through countless seasons, she strived to control and conquer the soil, yet abundance eluded her grasp. The law reveals that separation exists only in thought, never in truth. All life flows from one eternal source, expressing itself through infinite forms. Your perceived distance from success, love, or abundance stems not from reality, but from the illusion of disconnection. When Winnie Kay surrendered her notion of separateness, the garden transformed. She began to feel the life force flowing through both soil and self, recognizing no distinction between tender and tender. Her flowers bloomed, not because she commanded them, but because she remembered her unity with their essence. Daniel Joe discovered this same truth in the marketplace. Where once he saw competitors and rivals, he began to witness extensions of universal intelligence expressing through different forms. His business flourished not through strategic advantage, but through the recognition that success flows naturally when we cease to fight against the whole. The deeper teaching illuminates that effort itself arises from forgotten oneness. When you remember your inseparable nature from the source of all creation, life moves through you rather than against you. Your desires manifest not as distant acquisitions, but as natural expressions of the infinite intelligence you embody. In the stillness between thoughts lies this timeless truth. You have never been apart from what you seek. The universe does not respond to you. It expresses as you. Every heartbeat pulses with the same force that spins galaxies. Every breath shares the rhythm that moves oceans. The law asks not for your struggle, but for your recognition. As you release the illusion of separation, you allow universal intelligence its natural expression through your being. Success becomes not a destination, but a remembrance. Abundance flows not as reward, but as recognition of what already is. A simple practice for embodying unity. Find a quiet moment and settle into stillness. Close your eyes and silently affirm, "We are one." Feel the artificial boundaries between self and life dissolving into calm, clear power. Let this awareness of unity guide every action, knowing you move not through the world, but as the world expressing itself. Chapter 27. The Effortless Miracle. In a village nestled among ancient hills lived Theresa May, whose prayers rose like desperate birds into the sky. Each morning she would kneel before her window, hands clasped tight, beseeching the heavens for extraordinary intervention. Yet her miracles remained distant stars, beautiful to behold, but seemingly beyond reach. The universe whispered its eternal truth. Miracles flow not from desperate pleas, but from natural alignment. Just as water seeks its level and flowers turn toward light, the miraculous emerges from harmony with universal law. When you understand this principle, you realize that miracles are not exceptions to reality. They are reality's pure expression. Gilbert Ray discovered this truth while tending his garden. Each morning, he would marvel at the simple miracle of growth, seeds becoming sprouts, sprouts unfurling into plants, plants offering their bounty. He stopped asking for intervention and began noticing the constant flow of grace already present. His life transformed not through dramatic events, but through the quiet recognition that everything already moved in perfect rhythm. The law teaches that coherence creates. when your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs align with the natural order. What others call miraculous becomes your daily experience. The universe does not need to bend its rules to bless you. It simply needs you to flow with its existing perfection. Consider how easily breath enters and leaves your body, how naturally your heart beats its rhythm, how effortlessly the stars trace their paths across the night sky. These are not exceptions to universal law. They are its constant expression. When you align with this flow, life responds with equal grace. Your task is not to force the extraordinary, but to recognize the extraordinary in the ordinary. Let your awareness rest in the simple miracle of being. Feel how the universe supports every aspect of your existence without effort or strain. This is the natural state of grace that surrounds you always. The secret lies not in praying for exceptions, but in aligning with perfection. When Gilbert Ray understood this, his garden flourished without force, his relationships deepened without struggle, and abundance flowed without resistance. He had discovered that miracles are not breaks in the pattern, but the pattern itself revealed. Expect ease itself to be your miracle, and feel simplicity becoming sacred. Ancient practice. Sit quietly and observe your breath. Notice how it flows without your conscious direction. Feel the miracle in this simple rhythm. Let this awareness expand to encompass your entire day. Watch how life supports you naturally, effortlessly. This is the practice of recognizing the miraculous in the mundane. Chapter 28. The Dance of Detachment. In a small coastal village, Rosie Lou measured each moment like grains in an hourglass, her calendar marked with precise deadlines and expectations. Each morning she would rise before dawn, meticulously plotting the day's achievements, convinced that rigid control would guarantee her desires' fulfillment. Yet with each carefully scheduled step, her dreams seemed to retreat like the tide before her reaching hands. The universal law whispers a deeper truth. Creation flows most freely when we release our grip on time. Your relationship with time shapes the speed and grace of manifestation. When you clutch at hours and dates, you introduce resistance into the natural current of unfolding. Vernon Clyde discovered this wisdom in his garden, where flowers refused to bloom by his schedule, but flourished in their own perfect season. For years he had forced his nursery business according to market predictions and rigid sales targets. His breakthrough came during a summer storm that destroyed his greenhouse, a seeming disaster that freed him from the illusion of control. In that moment of surrender, Vernon learned to dance with uncertainty. He began treating time as a gentle companion rather than a harsh master. Instead of imposing deadlines, he tuned into nature's rhythm. He would say, "The flowers know when to bloom, and so do our dreams." His business transformed as he aligned with this natural flow. Orders arrived precisely when his plants reached their peak, and opportunities emerged with an ease that his former scheduling could never achieve. This law teaches that mastery lies not in controlling time, but in trusting divine timing. Your role is to hold the vibration of certainty while remaining detached from the when and how. Like a skilled dancer who knows the next step will arrive perfectly, you can move through life with graceful anticipation rather than anxious planning. Practice. Find a quiet space and imagine your desired outcomes as bright, beautiful balloons. Feel the joy of watching them rise into the infinite sky, carried by complete trust. Smile as they float upward, knowing they will return as manifestations at the perfect moment. Let your heart fill with the peaceful certainty that what is yours cannot miss you, and what is meant for you will arrive with divine precision. Chapter 29. The Grace of Completion. In a valley between ancient mountains lived Edith May, who clutched memories like withered flowers, fearing each ending would diminish her. Her home overflowed with tokens of the past, letters unopened, photographs unframed, moments suspended in amber reluctance. The universe whispered its wisdom through her resistance. Completion is not loss, but liberation. The deeper teaching reveals that all of creation moves in cycles of birth, death, and rebirth. Nothing truly ends, it transforms. Each completion carries the seeds of new beginning within its heart. When you resist natural conclusions, you hold yourself back from the next magnificent chapter the universe has prepared. Calvin Jay understood this truth while tending his orchard. Each autumn, as leaves turned golden and fruit ripened to fullness, he celebrated the harvest with quiet joy. Where others mourned winter's approach, he saw nature's wisdom in letting go. His trees taught him that release precedes renewal. When business opportunities concluded or relationships transformed, he blessed their completion with the same peaceful certainty he felt watching his trees shed their leaves. As his acceptance deepened, Calvin discovered that endings arrived with gifts in their hands. Each completion cleared space for greater possibilities. A partnership's conclusion led to an unexpected collaboration. A project's finish unveiled a grander vision. By trusting life's rhythm, he learned that nothing valuable could be lost. It simply changed form. The law of effortless success teaches that attachment to specific forms blocks the flow of infinite good. When you bless what is completing, you align with the universe's expansive movement. Resistance creates suffering. Acceptance reveals grace. Let the wisdom of natural cycles guide you. Just as the moon doesn't cling to fullness but trusts its waning, allow your life to pulse with the same sacred rhythm. Every ending is a doorway. Every completion makes space for miracles. Sacred practice. Find a quiet moment and bring to mind a chapter of your life that is completing or has completed. Place your hand on your heart and speak these words with gentle power. I thank this experience for its gifts. I bless its completion. I open myself to the greater good now unfolding. Feel gratitude fill you as you sense new possibilities awakening. Chapter 30. The Ongoing Light. In the ancient marketplaces of wisdom, there dwelt a merchant named Flora Beth. Each morning she would arrange her stall with meticulous precision, seeking the perfect display. Yet something within her ached for an unattainable ideal. Her quest for perfection became a weight that dimmed her spirit's light. The universe whispers its truth through the simplest moments. Through Flora Beth's journey, we glimpse the essence of mastery, not as a destination to reach, but as a river that flows eternally. Each morning brings fresh opportunity to align with this flow, to remember that perfection lives in presence, not in endless striving. Your own path to mastery unfolds not through forceful achievement, but through gentle awareness. The law of effortless success teaches that true power lies in accepting each moment as complete within itself. When you release the need for perfect outcomes, you open to the perfect unfolding that already exists. In a distant valley lived Chester Lee, whose very presence taught the deepest truths of this law. He never spoke of enlightenment or shared complex teachings. Instead, he simply walked through life with such profound peace that those around him felt their own hearts settling into alignment. His footsteps became prayers, his silence more eloquent than any sermon. Chester Lee understood that mastery flows from being, not doing. Each morning, he would tend his garden not to achieve anything, but simply to commune with life itself. Visitors would find him there, moving with such natural grace that the boundary between gardener and garden seemed to dissolve. Through his example, we learn that the highest teaching requires no words. Your presence, when aligned with universal truth, becomes its own lesson. Each breath offers an opportunity to practice this presence, to remember that you are not separate from the infinite intelligence that orchestrates all of creation. The law reveals that mastery is not about reaching some distant summit, but about discovering the summit that already exists within each breath. When you align with this truth, your very being becomes a beacon, just as Chester Lee's presence illuminated the path for others. Sacred practice. Settle into a comfortable position and close your eyes. Let your breathing remind you that each new inhale is fresh life entering to recreate your world again and again. Feel how each breath arrives as a gift, carrying infinite potential. With each exhale, release any notion that you must become something other than what you are in this moment. Allow your presence to be complete, just as it is. Part 4. The Expansion of Infinite Alignment. Chapter 31. The Spiral of Renewal. In a quiet valley where morning mists clung to ancient trees, Virginia May tended her garden year after year. Each season the same flowers bloomed, the same weeds emerged, and the same birds returned to nest. At first, this repetition filled her with restlessness, as if life were mocking her desire for constant novelty and progress. The universe speaks through patterns, and its wisdom unfolds in cycles. What appears as repetition often carries deeper revelations within its familiar rhythm. You may notice this truth in your own journey, how certain themes resurface, how specific lessons seem to echo through time. Virginia May's revelation came one spring morning as she knelt beside her roses. These were the same roses she had tended for years, yet suddenly she saw them with new eyes. Each bloom held mysteries she hadn't noticed before, secrets that only patience and presence could reveal. Her garden wasn't static, it was spiraling upward, each cycle bringing deeper understanding. The law of effortless success teaches that growth moves in spirals, not straight lines. When you resist this natural motion, you create unnecessary friction. But when you embrace the spiral nature of evolution, even familiar challenges transform into stepping stones of mastery. Everett Ray discovered this truth through his work as a craftsman. Each piece he created seemed to present the same challenges he had faced before. Initially, this frustrated him. Hadn't he already learned these lessons? Then, understanding dawned. Each repetition carried him to a higher level of artistry. What once appeared as tedious repetition revealed itself as refined mastery. You'll notice this principle at work in your own life. Those recurring situations that once felt like setbacks are actually invitations to deeper wisdom. Each time a familiar pattern emerges, You engage with it from a more elevated perspective. The spiral always leads upward, even when it appears to circle back. When Everett Ray embraced this understanding, his entire approach shifted. He began to welcome familiar challenges as old friends bearing new gifts. Each repetition became an opportunity to discover subtle nuances he had missed before. His work transformed from a linear pursuit of perfection into a spiral dance of ever-deepening mastery. Sacred practice. As twilight approaches, find a quiet moment to sit in reflection. Think of a pattern that regularly appears in your life, perhaps a relationship dynamic, a professional challenge, or a personal habit. Instead of seeing it as an old struggle, allow yourself to recognize how your relationship with this pattern has evolved. Notice the wisdom you've gained with each cycle, how your understanding has deepened even as the surface appears familiar. Let your heart acknowledge the upward spiral of your journey, appreciating how each turn brings new insight to ancient wisdom. Chapter 32. The Joysmith Within. In a tranquil valley where morning mist embraced ancient trees, there lived a woman who found herself wrestling with the rhythms of life. Each dawn, she walked the same paths, performed the same rituals, encountered the same challenges. The repetition felt like a cage until wisdom whispered its timeless truth. Circles spiral upward when embraced with awareness. At the heart of creation lies a sacred pattern, not of mere repetition, but of expanding cycles that carry you to higher understanding. Each time you meet a familiar lesson, you approach it with the gathered wisdom of all previous encounters. What seems like going in circles is actually ascending a spiral staircase of consciousness. Dottie Lu embodied this truth through her remarkable transformation. She spent years believing happiness was a gift bestowed by favorable circumstances, waiting for external conditions to grant her permission to feel joy. Her days were measured by what happened to her rather than what radiated from within her. Then came the awakening, a recognition that emotions were not responses to life but the very substance from which life was crafted. Joy, she discovered, was not a reward for good fortune but a creative force that shaped reality itself. This understanding transformed her from a passive recipient of circumstance into an active artist of experience. Harold Claude demonstrated this principle with elegant simplicity. Rather than waiting for reasons to feel glad, he cultivated gladness as his starting point. Each morning, before the day revealed its character, he would sit in his wooden chair by the window and practice deliberate joy. He smiled into the unknown, blessed the unmanifested, and celebrated the yet-to-be. What followed was nothing short of miraculous in its ordinariness. Life began meeting his gladness with experiences that matched its frequency. Opportunities appeared with natural ease, relationships deepened, and even challenges arrived wrapped in wisdom rather than worry. His practice proved that joy is not just a response to life, but a magnetic force that draws forth more reasons for its own existence. This law operates with perfect precision in your own life. When you choose joy before circumstance demands it, you activate a creative principle that reshapes the very fabric of your experience. Your emotions are not merely reactions. They are instructions to the field of infinite possibility. Sacred practice. Find a quiet moment and allow a gentle smile to touch your lips. Let it deepen naturally without force until you feel genuine warmth spreading through your being. As this authentic joy rises, know that the universe is already responding to its frequency, arranging new moments that will reflect this light back to you. Maintain this vibration and watch as life brings you more reasons to sustain it. Chapter 33. The Strength of Softness. Along a winding mountain path, a merchant carried her burdens with gritted teeth and tense shoulders. Each step felt like a battle against the world itself, for she believed that only through forceful determination could she carve her path to success. Year after year, Nancy Ray pushed against life's currents, wearing her exhaustion as a badge of honor. The universal law speaks differently. True power flows not from resistance, but from allowing. When you release the need to fight against every circumstance, you tap into a force far greater than personal will. This is not weakness, but wisdom incarnate. Consider the bamboo, which bends in the fiercest storms, while rigid oaks may snap. Water shapes mountains not through force, but through persistent gentleness. These are not mere metaphors, but demonstrations of universal principle. That which yields often endures, while that which remains rigid invites its own breaking. Edwin Lee discovered this truth in his garden. For years he had forced his plants to grow according to his rigid plans, fighting nature's wisdom with shears and stakes. His flowers bloomed, but never thrived. One spring, exhausted from the constant battle, he surrendered to a different approach. He began listening to the plants, following their natural inclinations, supporting rather than forcing their growth. His garden transformed, becoming more abundant than ever before. This law manifests in all realms. In business, Edwin learned to lead through understanding rather than demand. Where once he pushed his ideas forcefully, he now offered them as seeds to be nurtured collectively. His influence grew naturally, like water seeping into fertile soil. Doors that had remained locked against his pushing swung open at his gentle knock. The principle reveals itself. Strength lies not in hardness, but in adaptability. Power flows not from domination, but from harmonious engagement with life's currents. When you soften your approach, you align with the natural order that governs all creation. Ancient practice of gentle power. Find a quiet moment and settle into stillness. Notice the tension you carry in your shoulders, your jaw, your thoughts. Begin to soften, deliberately relaxing each area of tightness. As you release physical tension, let your mental grip loosen as well. Breathe deeply and affirm, I allow strength to flow through gentleness. Feel compassion filling the spaces where struggle once resided. Carry this softened presence into your interactions, observing how doors open more easily when approached with tender power rather than force. Chapter 34. The Horizon of Possibility. In ancient times there lived a merchant named Patsy Ann, who measured each possibility against the yardstick of past achievement. She kept a meticulous ledger of what she believed life would permit, carefully recording limits based on previous victories. This much profit is possible, she would say, drawing a firm line beneath the numbers. This far my influence can reach, she would declare, circumscribing her territory. Yet the universe whispers a deeper truth. That identity itself is as fluid as morning mist, ready to expand with each new ray of understanding. Your past accomplishments do not define the boundaries of your potential. They merely mark where you once paused to rest. Consider how a flower grows not by remembering its size as a seed, but by reaching toward the light that calls it upward. The seed's memory would only confine it to darkness. Instead, it responds to a vision larger than its history. Rodney Joe discovered this truth in his workshop where he crafted simple vessels from clay. For years, he created what his hands knew from repetition, until one dawn when sunlight struck his pottery wheel differently. In that moment, he saw not what his hands had always done, but what light itself might do if given form. His fingers began moving in patterns they had never known, guided not by memory, but by possibility. As his vision expanded beyond the familiar, something remarkable occurred. Orders began arriving for pieces he had not yet imagined. Collectors spoke of his work in galleries he had never dreamed of entering. His reality reshaped itself to match his expanded sense of what was possible. This principle operates ceaselessly in your life. Your circumstances are not fixed by what has been, but are fluid, responsive to your widening perception of what could be. The universe delights in surprising those who dare to imagine beyond their history. When you release the limiting ledger of the past, you discover that possibility has no ceiling. Your potential is not a finite resource to be rationed, but an infinite field waiting for your recognition. The ancient practice of star breathing. As darkness settles tonight, find a place beneath the vast canopy of stars. Let your gaze soften as you take in their endless expanse. With each breath, allow your sense of possibility to expand as boundlessly as the cosmos above. Feel how each star represents an opportunity yet unknown, a potential waiting to be recognized. Let your breath flow in rhythm with this infinite field of possibility until you sense your own horizons dissolving into starlight. Know that your opportunities multiply as endlessly as the stars themselves, limited only by your willingness to expand beyond what was into what could be. Chapter 35. The Sacred Ordinary. In a sunlit valley nestled between ancient mountains, there lived a woman named Fay Bell. Each morning she would rise before dawn, lighting incense and arranging crystals, seeking profound spiritual experiences that might transform her life. She traveled to distant temples and sacred sites, convinced that enlightenment required grand gestures and dramatic rituals. Yet peace eluded her grasp, slipping away like mist through desperate fingers. The truth revealed itself one ordinary evening as she stood at her kitchen sink. The warm water flowed over her hands as she washed dishes, and without thinking, she began to hum a simple melody of gratitude. In that unremarkable moment, something extraordinary occurred. The veil between mundane and magical dissolved. The soap bubbles caught the fading sunlight like countless tiny universes, and she felt the presence of infinite intelligence in the simple act of cleansing. When you understand that consciousness itself is the miracle, every moment becomes an opportunity for communion with the divine. The sacred does not arrive in spectacular displays, but breathes quietly in the spaces between thoughts, in the gentle rhythm of routine tasks approached with loving awareness. Leon Roy discovered this wisdom during his morning walks. Each day he would traverse the same path through his neighborhood. Yet one morning he noticed how the dewdrops on spider webs resembled strings of pearls in the dawn light. He began to observe how the wind danced with leaves, how birdsong created patterns of joy in the air. The familiar route became a meditation, each step a prayer of presence. Without seeking, he found himself immersed in the mystical language of existence. The deeper teaching illuminates that spirituality flourishes, not in the extraordinary, but in bringing extraordinary awareness to the ordinary. When you wash your hands, feel the miracle of water. When you prepare food, know that you participate in an ancient ritual of nourishment. When you sweep the floor, recognize that you purify more than physical space. Every task contains the seed of transcendence when approached with reverence. The universe speaks most clearly through simplicity, through the poetry of common moments made sacred by attention. Ancient practice. Find one routine activity in your day. As you perform it, slow your movements until each gesture becomes deliberate. Notice the sensations against your skin, the sounds that arise, the rhythm of your breath. Allow wonder to unfold naturally, without forcing or seeking. Let the ordinary reveal its inherent divinity through your gentle attention. Chapter 36. The Echo of Compassion. In a quiet corner of an ancient garden, Ruby Nell sat alone, building invisible walls between herself and the world's sorrows. She believed that shielding herself from others' struggles would preserve her spiritual light, keeping her vibration pure and untainted. With each passing season, she refined her isolation into an art, turning away from tear-filled eyes and trembling voices. Yet the universe whispers its deepest truths through paradox. As Ruby Nell's garden walls grew higher, her inner light dimmed, for light's nature is to spread, to touch, to transform. The law of effortless success reveals that abundance multiplies through sharing, never through hoarding. What we hold too tightly slips through our fingers like water, while what we freely give returns to us multiplied. In the same town lived Howard Kay, who discovered this truth through simple presence. Rather than offering quick solutions or turning away from pain, he learned to sit with others in their darkness, holding space with a listening heart. He never tried to fix or change, only to witness with compassion. With each person he truly heard, his own inner peace deepened like a well being slowly filled by underground springs. The law teaches that compassion is not a depleting force, but a generative one. When you open your heart to another's journey, you tap into the infinite current of universal love. This current knows no scarcity, for it is the very essence from which all abundance flows. Every moment of genuine connection creates ripples of healing that touch both giver and receiver, expanding the field of possibility for all. The practice. Close your eyes and bring to mind someone who carries a burden. Without trying to change their circumstance, simply hold them in your heart's gentle light. Let compassion flow naturally, like sunlight touching a flower. Feel how this giving enriches rather than depletes you, how both hearts rise together in the sharing of light. In this sacred exchange, you'll discover that love's mathematics always multiply. When compassion flows freely, the walls between self and other dissolve into unity, and true abundance reveals itself as our natural state. For in the eye of the infinite, every heart that opens becomes a channel for grace, and every moment of genuine caring ripples outward into endless blessing. The ancient practice. Find a quiet moment and bring one person to mind. Allow your heart to open naturally toward them, sending waves of gentle goodwill without agenda or expectation. Continue until you sense both your hearts lifting together in the shared light of compassion. This practice reveals the truth that in giving, we receive, and in blessing others, we ourselves are blessed. Chapter 37. The Art of Continuous Becoming. In a sunlit valley where wisdom gathered like morning dew, Effie Lou pursued an impossible dream. Each morning she would rise before dawn, checking off endless lists of goals, measuring herself against an ideal that forever stretched beyond reach. Her shoulders bent beneath the weight of unmet expectations, while her spirit yearned for a perfection that remained eternally out of grasp. The ancient teachings reveal a truth both simple and profound. Mastery flows not from reaching destinations, but from embracing the eternal dance of growth. Like a river that never steps in the same waters twice, true power exists in perpetual motion, in the willingness to remain forever new. Within your heart lies an infinite capacity for expansion. Each breath brings an opportunity to shed old limitations and welcome fresh understanding. The universe delights not in static achievement, but in the rhythm of constant becoming. When you release the need for arrival, you discover that every moment offers its own completeness. Ralph Dean embodied this wisdom in ways that transformed all who witnessed his journey. Though success graced his path abundantly, he maintained the wonder of an eternal student. While others rested on their laurels, he asked questions that revealed deeper mysteries. His achievements became not endpoints, but doorways, each victory an invitation to explore new horizons. The law of effortless success teaches that true mastery lies not in reaching perfection, but in falling in love with evolution itself. Your willingness to grow becomes the very force that shapes reality. When you embrace the joy of continuous unfolding, life responds with endless opportunities for expansion. Consider how a tree never declares itself complete, yet remains perfectly whole in every stage of growth. So too does your journey contain both completion and continuation in every breath. The universe asks not for your perfection, but for your presence in the endless dance of becoming. Sacred practice. As twilight draws near, find a quiet moment to reflect. Place your hand upon your heart and whisper words of appreciation, not for what you have achieved, but for your courage to keep growing. Thank yourself for remaining open to life's endless teachings. Feel gratitude for your willingness to evolve beyond each horizon that once seemed final. Let this acknowledgement become a gentle blessing that carries you into tomorrow's new possibilities. Chapter 38. The Infinite Homecoming. In a bustling marketplace where merchants called their wares and travelers exchanged tales of distant shores, Clementine Fay wandered with an aching heart. She had crossed oceans and scaled mountains, always believing the next horizon would hold the answers she sought. Each new city promised revelation, yet left her feeling more adrift than before. Her maps were filled with crossed paths, but her soul remained unsettled. The deepest teaching whispers that all journeys lead to the same destination, the sacred space within. Your search for meaning does not require distant pilgrimages, for truth vibrates in the quietness of your own being. The universe conspires to show you that home is not a place, but a frequency you carry. When Philip Ray finally understood this wisdom, he ceased his endless wandering. Each morning he would sit in his modest garden, breathing in the dawn air. As his breath deepened, so did his sense of belonging. The flowers seemed to nod in recognition. The birds sang melodies that echoed his inner peace. Without moving an inch, He traveled further than any ship could sail. His presence became his passport, his breath his compass. The law of effortless success reveals that alignment with your inner vibration magnetizes all experiences needed for growth. External movement without internal coherence is like chasing shadows, exhausting yet futile. When you resonate with peace, every location becomes sacred ground, every moment a homecoming. The truth you seek has never left your side. It pulses through your veins, whispers in your thoughts, and dances in your dreams. Your quest ends where it began, in the silent chamber of your heart, where all wisdom already resides. This recognition transforms searching into finding, wandering into arriving. Practice. Close your eyes and breathe as though you are arriving somewhere perfect, because in truth, you are. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. In the sacred rhythms of existence, a profound truth emerges. Your journey has always been a return to yourself. Like a river flowing to the ocean, every seeking leads back to the infinite presence within. This understanding transcends mere knowledge. It becomes the foundation of your being. You have witnessed through these teachings how the universe responds not to force but to frequency. Each story shared, from those who discovered peace in their gardens to those who found abundance in silence, reflects this timeless wisdom. The law of effortless success reveals itself not as a technique to master, but as a remembrance of your natural state. Think of the breath that moves through you now. You don't command it, you allow it. In this same way, all of life seeks to move through you with grace. Your role is not to direct the universe, but to align with its flow. When you rest in this knowing, miracles become as natural as sunrise. The power you've sought has always resided within. It pulses in your quietest moments, speaks through your gentlest intuitions, and manifests through your clearest intentions. You are not separate from the creative force of the universe. You are its expression. Let this understanding settle into your bones. Effort was never meant to be your path. The universe responds to resonance, not resistance. As you embrace this truth, watch how life begins to dance with your desires. How opportunities arise without struggle. How synchronicities multiply in the space of your trust. This is not the end of learning, but the beginning of living. Each breath invites you deeper into alignment. Each moment offers a chance to remember that you are not the seeker, but the source. Rest here in this knowing. Let the infinite intelligence that orchestrates galaxies guide your path with the same effortless grace.
If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.